Let's talk about the Lucy Letby case. There's many other cases involving nurses and midwives. This is obviously the most extreme. Somebody getting so many life sentences in a case where there's not only actual evidence, but any evidence of harm, wrongdoing to any of the babies. Circumstantial evidence against Lucy. And all the babies' deaths had been unexpected, unexplained, but natural causes. None of the coroners, none of the histopathology reports, none of the evaluations into the collapses and the deaths showed any wrongdoing, any malicious doing, any harm by a person. There's no evidence about the insulin. Having a test result from a machine that showed increased C-peptide, when you look at the whole complexity of it, that's not evidence. And even if it was, it doesn't show that any person did it, and if a person did it, that it was Lucy. So the whole thing, no evidence, no motive, natural causes, all the coroner's cases were fine. Even her accusers waited over a year and a half in some cases, to raise concerns. For example, whether she dislodged a tube or not. Of course she didn't. There's no evidence she did. We could say the same about the person who's the accuser. Two fundamental aspects in law is to know who your accusers are and what the allegations are. Yes, there's a presumption of innocence. However, everybody needs to tell their story and give some account. Generally in criminal cases, you actually don't have to give any account. They have to prove their case. And that seems to be the angle taken by her legal aid funded barrister, was don't say anything too much, don't have expert witnesses, let them try to prove their case and fail. And that didn't work. The jury were, I call it kind of magical realism, there's confirmation bias, there's fallacy is a good word, where you're just told a story often enough and you could believe it's true. So the case went on so long, almost a year, and the jury were bombarded by very powerful, very well-funded police, Crown Prosecution Service, well-funded lawyers. So I think out of the 4 million spent on the case in court, 1.5 million was allocated to Lucy Letby. That means 2.5 was spent, so 1 million more was spent there. And before that, we had the criminal prosecution with the police and Crown Prosecution Service. Extremely well funded. She had nothing. She's one individual person, a nurse who's caring. So all nurses are very worried, and midwives and doctors. But doctors are a bit more protected, not just that they have a stronger union, but in the psyche of people. They don't attack doctors as quickly and easily. And yet tragically, all of these professions have high suicide rates. Why do they have high suicide rates? Because of the fear of getting something wrong, because of their regulator, the employer will attack them, and they're not always supported. There's so many things to unpack. That there's the Lucy Letby case, but there's all nurses, midwives, doctors, physiotherapists, dentists, everybody in healthcare. So I focus on nurses and midwives, and I've got a page on justice for nurses and midwives, and I believe public inquiries, proper ones, will help.